Okay, good afternoon. Am I audible and the PPT is visible?
Yes, sir.
Please respond. Okay. So now let's start. Already 5 minutes gone. Let's now start. So last class we have discussed about function point matrix. I have told that there are different kinds of function point matrix. Now let's see the remaining types of the function point matrix. So today we will discuss mainly some more examples first. Last class we have discussed about Albrecht IFPUG function points. I have taken some examples, given some exercises to you. Now today again, in order to make your base more strengthened, let us take some more examples on Albrecht IFPUG function points. Then we will discuss the Simpson's Mark II function points. Then we will discuss the cosmic function points. Finally, we will discuss a little bit of the object points. As I have already told you, first we will see these are the 4 parametric models for sites. Last class we have already discussed Albrecht and IFPUG function points. Some examples we have seen, some exercises I had given. Today I will discuss again few more examples on this. Besides that, we will see the Simpson's Mark II function points. Then we will discuss about cosmic function points. And COCOMO 81 and COCOMO 2 we will discuss in the next class. So let's quickly take another example on this Albrecht IFPUG function point. So consider a project with the following functional units or the following functionalities. There are 50 user inputs, 40 user outputs, 35 user inquiries, 6 user files, 4 external interfaces. And it is given that all complexity adjustment factors as well as the weighting factors, I mean the system characteristics, they are all average. Okay, assume all the complexity adjustment factors and the weighting factors, they are average or medium, whatever you can say. So what we have to do, we have to compute the function points for the project. And suppose the program needs 70 LOC per function point, then we have to find out what should be the actual size of the complete project. Again, I can go to the formula. You know the formula. Last class I have given 4 into number of inputs plus 5 into number of outputs plus 4 into number of what as I think it is inquiries, 10 into number of files, 7 into number of interfaces or so. So this formula you have already you have seen, and I have already told you these values are medium. 4, 5, these 4, 10, 7, these are for medium complexity or average complexity. So why I have taken, because here it is already written these are average. So on the table we have already known. From the table I have chosen the values of the constants. For input 4, for output 5, and like this, these constants you will take. So it's a simple equation. The value is coming to be 628. So the unadjusted function point is coming to be 628. Also given that these system characteristics, those 14 system characteristics, they are also average. So average means you have already known the value is 3 for average. How many characteristics? 14 characteristics. So 14 into 3, the formula for VAF or TCF, you know, value adjustment factor or technical complexity factor, it's computed as 0.65 plus 0.01 into 14 numbers, and for average you know the value is 3. Last class I have already told you. If you simplify, coming to 1.07. How you can find out the adjusted function point? It is equal to what? Unadjusted function point multiplied by the value adjustment factor. This is equal to how much? 628 into 1.07, coming to be 672. So the actual the adjusted function point is coming to be 672. What will the size now? It is already given. Per function point, the program needs 70 lines of code. How many function points? 672 function points. So the size will be equal to how much? Function point into LOC per FP. Function point is 672 into the given LOC per function point is 70. So this is coming to be 47040 LOC. Okay. So this is how for this given problem we can find out the unadjusted function point as well as the size of the complete project. Okay. So this is a simple example we have explained to you. Let's quickly take another example. Compute the function point value for a project with the following information domain characteristics. These information are given to you. Number of user inputs is equal to 32. there are 60 user outputs, 24 user inquiries, 8 number of external files and 8 numbers of internal files and 2 logical files, 8 numbers of logical files and 2 number of interfaces. It is given that all the complexity adjustment values are average or medium. Okay. So now we have to find out first what on adjusted function point. So straightforward formula, number of input into 4, number of output into 5, number of inquiry into 4, number of file into 10, number of interfaces into 7, coming to be 600 by 18. And also it is given that these adjustment vectors are also average. The system characteristics, their values are average or medium. So VF will be again 1.07. So adjusted function point will be equal to how much? On adjusted function point into multiplied by VAF. This is coming to be 661.27. Okay. So in this way you can find out the average function point. If it is given that per function point it requires suppose 80 lines of code, accordingly you can multiply with by 80 to know this LOC of the project. In that way you can find out the adjusted function points and the LOC for this given project. This is a little bit different example. Those who have studied Rajimol's book on software engineering, you can see that in the requirement specification as well as the design, there is a example given as supermarket. So here you have to determine the function point measure of the size of the following supermarket software. So this supermarket software or any supermarket, it needs to develop the following software to encourage its regular customers. For this customer, he needs to supply first his or her residence address with the telephone number and the driving license number. Each customer who registered for this scheme is assigned a unique identification number called as the customer number by the computer automatically. Based on the generated customer number, a clerk manually prepares a customer identity card after getting the market manager's signature on it. Then a customer can present his customer identity card to whom? To the checkout staff when he makes any purchase. So in this case, the value of his purchase, it will be credited against his customer number. Then at the end of each year, the supermarket, it intends to award some gift, some surprise gifts to 10 customers who will make the highest total purchase over the year. Also, the supermarket, it intends to award a 22 carat gold coin to every customer whose purchase exceed rupees 10,000. See, it intends to give two types of gifts to the 10 customers who make the highest total purchase over the year. That means the customers having the highest purchase, 10 customers, one gift. Another to every customer who the amount or purchase exceeds rupees 10,000 in the year, they will give another what may be consolidated gift, that is a 22 carat gold coin. Then on the entries against the CN, I mean the customer number, are reset on the last day of every year after the prize winners list are generated. So the manager on December 31st midnight 12 o'clock, he will issue the command, generate the gift list, winner list. The software should generate the winner list. Then all the purchase it will be made to the amount will be reset to 0, so that it will be now start from the next year. For the next year, the data will be stored and the gift or the surprise, the winner list will be generated. It is also given that the various project characteristics determining the complexity of software development having significant influence. Yesterday I have already told you last class there are different types of influence: no influence, minor influence, then average influence, significant influence, high influence, and the values I have already told, it will vary from 0 to 5. So now let's see, and the significant is value is 4. So basically, if you will analyze, you have to find out how many inputs are there, how many outputs, how many inquiries, how many interfaces, and how many files. Then you can apply the formula. If you will just from an initial examination of the problem description from the SRS document, we find that there are only 2 inputs. Okay, what are the 2 inputs? You can see the customer details such as residence address and telephone number, and another is the driving license. So there are 2 inputs, 3 outputs. So what are the outputs? You can see a CN will be generated and the 2 gifts. 10 what the regular gift, another is a gold coin gift. So 3 outputs. 2 files are required, one for storing the customer. This, even if it is not mentioned explicitly, you have to analyze from the problem, you have to extract from the problem how many files will be required. From a cursory analysis of the problem, you can see that there will be 2 files required, one for storing the customer details and another for storing the daily purchase records. And you can see there are no interfaces are required, no interfaces. And how many queries? Only one query. What is the query? Generate the winner list. Here at the December 31st, the command, the project manager will give just a command, generate a winner list. So only one query. So I can directly apply the formula. 2 into 4 because 2 inputs, 3 outputs, so 3 into 5. One query I have just told, generating what give a command to generate the winner list. So only one query, 1 into 4. So 2 files I have already told you. These are the 2 files, one for customer details, another for the storing the daily purchase records. 2 into 10. No interfaces, so 0. And it will solve. I have used the formula. This formula yesterday, last class we have used. So now this is an initial examination, but if you more closely, examine the requirement specification, you will mark some difference. What is the difference? Yes.
Sir, for interface, sir, why there is 0? Like it can be 1. Like the data is coming, like what are the customers are there and what is the stock is there. So we are taking the interface data from other like data store now.
See, in this problem, I have assumed that this software is what alone, it is independent, no interfaces are required. If you want to make a more complex interface, you can do more complex software gateway with the payment bank, and so then you can appropriate or any external file, then you count the interface. This is for example I am saying. For this one, nothing is mentioned, so I have assumed that it is 0. If you will make a more complex software, it will be interface to the bank gateway, some other database, etc., like Amazon or your Flipkart, etc. Then you count how many number of interfaces and the value just you put here. Okay, this is only for example I am saying. If you want, yes, please.
And sir, what are the 3 outputs, sir?
3 outputs I have told here. No, see. The system, what it will generate first the customer number. Once you give the customer telephone number, his details like address and telephone number and the driving license.
Customer number, other is gold coin. And sir, one
yes,
more.
Another is gift. To see there are two gifts. One is the regular gift, highest 10 customer, those who will make highest purchase. This is one gift. Another is gold coin gift. Okay, 2 plus the customer number CN. 3. Okay, there will be 3 output. So now, this we have any doubt, please. Please try to understand. Yes, please.
Sir, that means, sir, these questions are subjective to the reader. Whatever the reader thinks that it is correct, he can do that in such a way. Solution can be different for any student.
No, but that must be logical. In this problem, I have categorically mentioned what is the input, what is the output, and how many queries you know, only one query it is given. And you will analyze, I have deliberately make it number of files you have not specified, you have to extract. From this problem, you can see only 2 files are required. And this problem does not involve an interface. Just it's a standalone program for a small shop. So why it should be what subjective? You have to read. Yes, please.
Sir, just like sir, you have taken only 2 inputs from the user. Just like that, I have taken 4 inputs. That is address, telephone number, driving license, and also in the question that is given that we have to reset the purchase history after the end. So there will be another input for resetting the purchase.
Input. So that you have already developed computer programs that cannot be a resetting. It is automatically done. If you set, you know how to reset items, dates, etc. Automatically, this will be on December 31st. For that you are not supplying any input, any value. Maybe a command you can fire a command. That cannot be considered as an input. Input means, see, please see my definitions of all these values. What is a user input? What is a user output? I have already given the definitions in the first class. Please have a look into that. The command cannot be considered as an input. Generating the window list, it is a command, so it is a query. That's why I have taken the value of inquiry is equal to 1. Unless you will give a query, how the window list will be generated. So that's why this is 1. But resetting any value you are resetting, that is not a user input or a your inquiry. Okay, and you are saying too, that is the another part you are saying correct, that this number of input you have to meticulously thought. Here I have thought only, see, I have put here like 2. The user details 1, it may contain user name, address, quarter number, telephone number, etc. And 1 field for driving license or Aadhaar number, whatever you can say. That's why I have taken 2. If you will exactly separate for name 1, quarter number 1, telephone number 1, driving license 1, Aadhaar card 1, then you have to specify accordingly. I will see in the examination this ambiguity will not be there. These are purely for exam understanding point of view, example point of view. Try to understand. In the examination, the question will be very much simplified. It will be exactly give what are the exact 2 inputs. I am saying,
So,
yes, please.
so means
Yes.
you are not taking name as an input, sir. Because telephone number and address are license are 2 input already.
Yes. See, suppose there is only 1 field, alphanumeric or alphabetic field, where he is supplying the address with the telephone number and the driving. So here I have made this as 1 residence address and the telephone number I have taken 1 because telephone number is unique, and driving license another 1. In that way I have taken as 2. But if you want to break up, suppose you will write name 1 field, address another, then say what is landline number, mobile number, etc. Accordingly you can break up. In my particular example, I have made 2 fields. 1 is address with the telephone number, another driving license. If you are confusing, you take simply you forget about address, only 2 things, telephone number and driving license number. Then for you it is clear. Only the customer will enter this mobile number, because nowadays you go big bazaars or this any shopping mall, they are only asking your mobile number, and in mobile number that is unique, that will automatically generate their record. So for that case that is 1. So there is nothing to confuse. These are purely examples, and I am trying to fit the values I have taken with this. For this example, I have taken address and telephone number as 1 field, and the driving license number another input, another field. So that's why I have taken here 2. If you in the examination, I will see that exactly the values will be given in order to avoid any confusion. But you please try to understand, and accordingly, whenever it is given in number, please try to do this. So, yes, please.
Sir, how to determine the complexities of those input, output, and queries?
See,
like which is average and all.
See, that actually, again, as you are saying, that may be actually subjective, may vary from person to person. In many of the question, it will be given in exam given. But for practical life, when you will join in industry, that depends upon the experience of your previous experience. Suppose designing a database for a student is very easy, or the output. I will take a small example right now, but for other person might be difficult. So you have to use your knowledge to to categorize whether it is simple, average, or difficult, or like that. That it is subjective. That is subjective for the programmer, for the manager.
Sir, here you have taken, sir, average input as average.
For simplicity, for making easy my job, I have taken everything as average, and these are all average values. 4, 5, this 4, 2, 7. These are average. Okay. These significantly different. I will come later on. But these are factors I have taken as, see that, please remember there are 2 things, these weighting factors and the values of the system characteristics. For this, the values are those medium, low, high, etc. And there for system characteristics, it will range from 0 to 5. So don't confuse. And if it is not mentioned anything else, please assume both of them are average. And for average, these are the values here. And in that case, that system characteristics average value is 3 for all the 14. So 14 into 3, 42. That will mean, but in order to make distinguished, here I have taken weighting factors as average and the system characteristics values I have taken significant, so that you can mark the difference, because all other previous examples I have taken average, average, average for all. So now I am making a little bit different. The weighting factors are average and system characteristics are significant. Taking this average value, I got this. And here I have identified there are only 2 inputs, 3 outputs, 2 files, one inquiry and no interfaces. This is from a just initial reading of the problem specific description I have got. Now let's see, as you are saying, how to clearly distinguish whether all the weighting factors are average or low or high. It may be possible. Suppose in my example, 3 outputs I have taken. Some output can be average, some output can be high, some output can be low. Similarly, if there are 3 inputs, some input can be low, some input can be high, some input can be of medium complexity. I am taking a small example here, please see. Now all the parameters are of medium complexity. All the that input, output, inquiry, internal file and interface, all I have chosen medium. But you see, excepting one output parameter, there are 3 output parameters, all are 2 are medium. But you see, if you closely look at, except the output parameter of customer registration, you know there is a, when in the problem description there is a what? It will generate, there will be a customer registration module. It will receive the 2 fields like address, telephone number and the driving license number. What it will generate? Customer number, identification number. Just like when you have admitted in your institute, you have given your details, your name, address, phone number, etc. What the software has given you, a roll number. That's a very easy thing. You will just supply your input and it will give the what registration number or any identification number such as customer number. No complexity here at all. So that's why this output can be considered of low complexity. So that's what I have done. So initially I have thought that all are average, but when I have carefully read the program, the problem description, I found that generating the unique identification number is very easy. So the complexity of the output parameter of the customer registration function, it can be categorized as what? Simple or low. So we have identified that 3 outputs. Out of that 2 are medium, that 2 gives, but 1 is low. What is generating CN? Because it's very simple, so it is simple or low. Now we'll look at again the table. Now what value we have computed earlier, that needs refinement, because here we have considered all the outputs are of medium, but actually we have seen 2 are medium and 1 are low. So now we have to recompute, we have to refine. So the UFP can be refined as follows. How? This part were there 2 into 4. Now this output 3, you can see for output the low complexity value is how much? 4. Medium complexity how much? 5. How many low? 1 is low. 1 output low. So 1 into 4 plus 2 outputs are mediums, 2 into 5. Others are remaining same. When I will evaluate this equation, the value is coming to be 46. So this is the refined value. But you see previously it was 47. But now when we have more accurately, we have categorized the input, output, etc. Then we have found out that all are medium excepting one, which is come to be low. So this here your programmers what skill is required. Maybe a layman also can say that generating the roll number or CN is very easy. So it must be simple. It should not be medium or high complexity. In that way, the UFP has been refined. So the refined UFP will be 46. It should not be 47. It should be 46. So in this way, you can initially find out what is the UFP value. Then you again closely analyze and find out what is the refined value. Then next step, we have to say about the complexity adjustment factors or the general characteristics values. Already in the problem it is given they are of significant influence, and for significant influence we know the value is 4. For average or medium, it is 3. For significant, it is 4. So what is the DI value? Degree of influence. 14 into 4, it is 56. Then we should compute TCF. So VF is also known as TCF. Last class I have already told you. VF stands for value adjustment factor. The same thing is known as TCF, technical complexity factor. This is coming to be how much? Again formula 56 into 0.01 plus 0.65 coming to 1.21. So the adjusted function point will be how much? The refined value of UF is 46 into what 1.1 coming to be 55. All right. So in this way we have seen this supermarket example. Any doubt, please? So similar examples, please calculate. You forget about examination. Please try to understand. Examination, I will try to definitely put unambiguous questions where the values will be exactly specified. Okay. Then we'll go to the next kind of function point. That is function points Mark II. It was developed by Charles R. Simmons. So that's why this name is Simmons or function Mark II function point Simmons or Mark II function points. He has published an article, Software Sizing and Estimating, Mark II, FPA, in Wiley & Sons in 1991. It builds on work developed by Albrecht. It was developed in parallel to the IFPUG function points. This is a much simpler and more usable method in comparison to the Albrecht IFPUG function point. So how does it work? For each transaction, so this Mark II or Simpson's function point works as follows. Let us first take the symbols that we'll use for each transaction. First, you count the data items input. I mean the input, the data items which will be input, and you can note as NI. Data items which will be output, which will be produced as output NO. Then the entity types which are assessed during what the computation, maybe it is represented as NA. Then I will compute the function points using this Mark II or Simpson's function point. Here FP count is calculated using this formula. NI into 0.58 plus NA into 1.66 plus N0 NO into 0.26. The values of these constants 0.58, 1.66 and 0.26, they have been found out by experiments by Simpson. What is NI, NO, NE? They represent already, they have been mentioned here. So we have to give the number of input items NI to the process or to the model. Here this is this intermediate process. Then while this computation is done, it may assess the different entities. Finally, it will produce the number of items. So function point count, it will be equal to NI into 0.58 plus NA into 1.66 plus NA into 0.6. This is a much simpler function point. This is a much simpler function point than the Albrecht function point. It is very much widely used in UK. Then let's say a little bit about the function points for embedded systems. Mark II and IFPUG function points that we have just discussed, they are designed for information systems and they are not suitable for embedded systems. These are heavily dominated by the input and output operations, isn't it? Either this previous one we have seen, isn't it? That they are in Albrecht thing, they are also dominated by this input and the number of input and number of output, because normally their values are large. Here also in function points Mark II, here also you see that it is dominated by this input and output. They are not suitable for embedded systems. Mark II and IFPUG function points were designed for information systems like student information system and employee information system, etc. And they are not suitable for embedded systems. Okay, they are dominated by input and output operations. So another function point is they are called as cosmic full function points. Cosmic full function points, they attempt to extend the concept of these function points to handle the embedded systems. In an embedded system, its features will be hidden. Normally in an embedded system, its features will be hidden because the software's users, they will be probably not a human. They may be a robot also, isn't it? So like a robotic, the robot you may consider or something. So in an embedded system, normally its features will be hidden because the software's user, they will probably, they may not be human beings, maybe, okay. It may be a hardware or another software component, or it can be a robot like that. So that's why its features will be hidden. This cosmic full point or the cosmic full function points, they deal with this by decomposing the system architecture into hierarchy of software layers. So since as I have already told you that here the features will be hidden because the user may not be a human. This aspect is handled, is dealt by Cosmix in this way, in the following way. Cosmix deals with this by decomposing the entire system architecture into a hierarchy of software layers. We'll show what are the different layers. Embedded software, normally it is seen as being in a particular layer in this system. So I have already told you there will be a hierarchy of software layers, and the embedded software, it can be considered, it may be seen as being in a particular layer in this system architecture. The embedded software, it will communicate with other layers and also other components at the same level. The software component which is to be sized can receive requests for services from the layers above, and it can also request services below it. I mean from those layers below it. Please see again what I'm saying. The software component which is to be sized, or for which you want to find out the size, estimate the size, it can receive requests for services from where? From the layers above it, and it can also request services from the layers below it. This is the architecture. This is the middle layer. These are the lower layers. These are the higher layers. So this is the software component. You might require to find out to estimate the size for this software component. So there is some storage device here. So data may be read into the software component, or data might be written into this storage. There might be peer-to-peer communication with some components. Peer components are the same layer. As I have already told you, software component, this software system may get request from the higher layer. Also, it makes a request for a service to the lower layer. So in this way, you can in this way you can see the architecture of maybe the embedded software. This is known as the layered software. So the traditional function points such as Albrecht function points or Simpson's function points, they may not be suitable for this layered software or for the embedded software. So this identifies the boundary of the software component to be assessed, and thus points at which it receives inputs and transmits outputs. Like in this, what is the boundary? This is the boundary. Where it is getting the input, where it is sending the output, that should be recorded here. This identifies the boundary of the software component to be assessed, and thus the points at which it receives the inputs from the different layers and the points to which it transmits the outputs. Okay. Inputs and the outputs, they are aggregated into different data groups. Inputs and outputs are aggregated into data groups where each group brings together the data items that relate to the same object of interest. Okay. So in this case, the inputs and the outputs, they are aggregated into different data groups. So the inputs and outputs are aggregated into data groups where each group, what does it do? Each group brings together the data items that relate to the same object of interest. The cosmic pool function points. Here the data groups can move about in 4 different ways, which are mentioned as follows. There can be entries. Entries means movement of data into the software component from a higher layer or a pure component. That is one. Exits. Exits means movements of data out of that software component. Reads means data movement from persistent storage to the component. Writes means data movement to the persistent storage. Okay, so the data groups can move in these 4 ways in Cosmix. These 4 ways are mentioned as follows. So each counts 1. So whatever these 4 we have seen, each group here, so each counts 1 cosmic functional site unit known as CFSU. So that can be what the data groups can move about 4 ways. Each counts as 1 cosmic functional size unit or CFSU. Similarly, you see how many such counts are there. Then you can estimate what will be the functional size, or what will the simple size, or what will be the function points in terms of CFSU, which stands for cosmic functional size unit. The overall function point count is derived how? The overall function point count is derived by simply adding up the counts for each of the 4 types of data movement. Here, how many counts you have got as entries, how many counts as exits, how many counts as reads, and how many counts as writes. Find out them, then add them. Here we have already told you each count will be considered as 1 CFSU or 1 cosmic functional size unit. Then the overall function point count can be derived by simply adding up the counts for each of the 4 types of data movement. The cosmic function points, they have been incorporated into ISO standard. So that is a great advantage of this cosmic FPs, because Albrecht IFP or Albrecht function points, they are not incorporated in ISO standard. The cosmic function points, they have been incorporated in ISO standard. So this is the advantage we have seen, that the cosmic points have been incorporated into ISO standard. This is the advantage. The disadvantages of cosmic function points are these. These function points do not take into account any processing of the data groups. Okay, so these cosmic points, they do not take into account any processing of the data groups once they have been moved into the software component. So once they have been moved into the software component, then function point does not take into account these data groups. So this cosmic function point, it is not recommended for use in systems involving complex mathematical algorithms. So the systems which involve complex mathematical algorithms, for those systems, cosmic point is not recommended. So now let's see quickly. We have seen this Albrecht function points and Simpson's function point and cosmic function point. Let's quickly see what are the advantages and disadvantages of these methods. I have already told you the drawback of size is that it is becoming language dependent, because if you have written in machine language or assembly language, then size will be very high. But if you are using C or C++, size will be less and you will be penalized. But in function point overcomes that problem. So function point, it is language independent because you are not taking any language. We are identifying the functional units in terms of maybe input, output, and inquiry, and maybe files and maybe interfaces. These are language independent. So function points are language independent. They can be easily understandable by the clients also, because no technical details are there. It's very much simple for modeling. It will be quite hard to fuse it or fuse these function points. The function points, they are visible. They are having visible feature creep. The drawbacks are as follows. They are quite labor intensive. In order to compute them, it will be quite labor intensive. They require extensive training. inexperience, as you have already told you, in some cases is subjective. So there actually you require high experience, previous experience. So inexperience may result in inaccuracy of the estimation, weighted to file manipulation and transactions. The errors may be introduced by a single person. So multiple raters are advised. As you have already told you, it will vary from person to person, may vary in some cases. So that's why multiple raters are advised. Does not consider algorithmic complexity of function. So one important drawback is that what is the complexity of the algorithmic complexity of a function that we are going to design? It does not take into account or function points. Function point does not take into account, or function points do not take into account. They do not consider the algorithmic complexity of a function. So these are the drawbacks of function points. Now I will tell one method where this last problem can be overcome. Since function points, they do not consider the algorithmic complexity of function, another metric is proposed which overcomes this. That means they take into account the algorithmic complexity of function during estimation. That metric is known as feature point metric. As I have already told you that the function point metrics, they suffer from a major drawback. That means the size of a function is considered to be independent of its complexity. They do not take into account the algorithmic complexity of a function. So this problem can be overcome by using a metric called as feature point metric. So in order to overcome this problem, an extension is made to the original function point metric called as feature point metric that has been proposed. So this feature point metric, it considers an extra parameter known as algorithmic complexity. Okay, so what is the drawback of these function points that not handling the or not considering the algorithmic complexity of a function that is successfully overcome here. So feature point metric, it considers this algorithmic complexity as an extra parameter while estimating the size of a function. This parameter ensures that the computed size using the feature point metric, it reflects the fact that higher the complexity of a function, the greater the effort required to develop it, isn't it? If a function is a high complex, obviously you have to put more effort. So higher the complexity of a function, the greater the effort required to develop it, you will require more effort to develop it. Therefore, it should have larger size compared to a simpler function. So if a function is having higher complexity, its size will be also estimated to be more large than compared to a normal function or a simpler function. So some critical comments on the function points and the feature point matrix. The supporters or the proponents of function point and feature point matrix claim that these two metrics are language independent and they can be easily computed from the problem description or from the SRS document during the project planning stage itself. That means much early the project starts. On the other hand, the opponents, they claim that these metrics are very much subjective and require a sleight of hand. The metrics are subjective. Already some of you have already told you. So many opponents claim that these metrics are subjective and they may require a sleight of hand. An example of the subjective nature. Now let's quickly take an example of this subjective nature of the function point metric. An example of the subjective nature of the function point metric says that the way one groups the input and output data items into logically related groups can be very subjective. Very correct, you are saying that while I am taking the input, I was taking 2, but you are taking also 3. That address 1 and telephone 1 and this driving license 1. Somebody may say, no, I will make only 1, where all the fields will be included: address, telephone number, and this license number. So these are all subjective. So an example of the subjective nature of the FP metric is given below. That means the way the person who groups, okay, the way one groups the input and the output data items into different logical related groups, that can be very subjective. So that is the critical comment, that is a drawback of function point metric, because people they may feel the grouping may vary from person to person. Okay, so these are some of the critical comments on the function point and the feature point matrix. For example, let's consider that certain, in order to explain this subjective feature, I have taken a small example. For example, consider that certain functionality requires the employee name and employee address to be input. Okay. So certain functionality requires what? You have to enter the employee name and employee address. They will be entered as input. It is possible that one can consider both these items as a single unit of data. I have just told, you have already complained. Like employee name and employee address, one person may treat as one group. Since after all these describe what? A single employee, his name and address. It is also possible that somebody else may consider an employee address as a single unit of input data and a name as another unit of data. So this may lead to subjective nature. Such ambiguities leave sufficient scope for debate and keep open the possibility for different project managers to arrive at different FP measures for essentially the same problem. So that's why even if the problem is same, even if the function is same, different managers, they may get different function point values. So this is an example of this subjective nature of function points. Now I want to give a conversion between, or the relation between function point and the LOC. So the table I have given where it says that, so per function point, how many SLOC are there? This is the median SLOC per function point. If you are using C normally, so 104 source lines of code may be considered per function point. If it is C++, again it is reduced. So it is 53 source lines of code per function point. For HTML it is 42, for Java it is 59, for Perl it is 60, for J2 it is 50, for Visual Basic it is 42, like that. So this is a table which shows this is a table which shows that what will be the median SLOC. That means what will the maybe the average number of source lines of code per function point for different languages. Okay. So then how will accurately estimate the size? In this way, what is the requirement collect? From the, after getting the requirement, you perform function point analysis. So first you compare, so here two things we have to take, the project size and the project complexity adjustment. I have already told you the project complexity adjustment such as whether low, medium or high. Then this project size normally you can compute in the form of EUFP, unadjusted function point. So multiply them, you will get maybe the adjusted function points. Then you may consider what is the risks available. Okay, the risks available, the risk factors adjustment. I think the 14 consider here the risk factors adjustment, or if any other risks are there, you give some values like 0 to 5. So use here the different values for the risk factors. Use the risk factors adjustment. So whatever the value you are getting by multiplication of the project size and the project complexity adjustments, multiply by the risk factors adjustment, this will give you the accurate estimate. So what here you can estimate? The size you are estimating, maybe in terms of function point. Here the final output may be the estimates for different things. The estimates could be maybe for the effort, maybe for the schedule, or maybe for the cost. Because if you know the effort, you can easily find out what will the estimated cost. So in this way, you can estimate the accurate size. So now quickly I will look at the object points. We have seen something function point, we have seen something feature points. Now I want to tell something object points. These object points, they have nothing to do with the object-oriented programming languages. Here the number of object points is estimated based on three things. One is the number of the separate screens displayed, how many screens independently they will be displayed, number of separate screens displayed, number of reports that are produced, how many reports are produced as output, number of modules in the code, how many number of modules are there. So accordingly you count the number of object points. Each one can be treated as one. So find out how many counts are there how many number of separate screens are displayed, how many number of reports that are produced, how many number of modules are there in the code, they will be counted as separate object points. So the number of object points is estimated based on the number of separated screens displayed, number of reports that are produced as output, number of modules in the code. Then the object points are very much simpler to estimate. Since these are very much simple to estimate, the object points, they are very much simpler to estimate. They also take GUI into account. So because nowadays almost every program you see, any application, they are supporting a good GUI. How much good software you may develop, if it is having a bad GUI, nobody will, or a very poor GUI, nobody will attract, nobody will use your system, nobody will be attracted to your project or your organization. So you have to develop a greater GUI. These function points and feature points, I think they do not consider, they do not take into account GUI. But the object points, they take into account GUI. The object points are very simple to estimate. They take GUI into account. When they take GUI into account while estimating the size, etc. So today we have solved some more examples on Albrecht IFP with the function points. We have discussed another function point known as Siemens Mark II function points. We have also discussed the cosmic function points. Here also we have discussed the concepts of feature points and object points. We have taken this from these two books. Thank you very much. Any doubt, please? Yes, any doubt, please? If there are no doubts, then I will stop here. Thank you very much.